Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the Geek Street where the street speaks. Once again, my name is Jazz, and I have my buddies over here, Sean, Eric, and Harvin. Say hi, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so all of us are here to do the breakdown for What If episode 7. This is the 7th episode in the 9 episode long What If season. So we are close to the end, and it gets exciting as we go closer. At first, we thought that the episode wasn't really that interesting. I mean, it was more of a comedic, fun kind of episode, but the ending is where it got interesting. So again, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched this episode, please make sure to go to Disney Plus or Disney Plus Hotstar, watch this episode, and then come and watch our breakdown video, as we got a lot to cover. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel to watch more of our contents. So, without wasting any time, let's jump into What If episode 7. What if Thor were the only son?
Let's start the party.
So the scene starts in the desert. I think we all know it's the desert in New Mexico. So we see Darcy and Jane Foster in their van, and Jane predicts that an alien invasion is coming, and she calls up Shield and explains to them, there's an anomaly that 2 years ago the same anomaly struck the star Alpha Icarus, which is the star that dimmed and disintegrated. But then, of course, Shield, as usual, as any government, ignores her call and just puts it down. So right after that, we see the Bifrost beam crosses them, and it lands in Las Vegas. So we see like a silhouette of these alien invaders, and turns out it's Thor and his friends, and they want to party. So and immediately the watcher tells the story about how Thor is the person he is because of Loki, because of the mischievousness and everything. But now, without Loki in the picture, what happens if Odin didn't adopt Loki? So Thor is the only child, he has everything good, and he's the party kid right now. So, we see in Asgard, Odin is lying in his chamber, and both Thor and Frigga waited until Odin goes in his Odin sleep or something like that. I think it's like a long nap or something. And Frigga immediately leaves with her sisters, saying they want to celebrate the solstice. So, there's this kind of celebration. And she mentions to Thor that, Heimdall will always be watching, so no partying and make sure to study. So Thor is basically like a teenager in this story. But, Thor and his friends, they are talking about how to sneak behind Frigga so that they could go party. And, there's one Easter egg over there. They actually pass by the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. So as we know from Thor Ragnarok, the Infinity Gauntlet was a fake. Hela says it's a fake. But right now, because the universe is entirely different, we don't know if this is the actual gauntlet or it's a fake one. But yeah, And they go to this huge chamber underground in Asgard, having a beer, and they say, let's go to the most backwater planet. So backwater planet meaning like the most ignored planet, I guess Earth, in the MCU is like so insignificant, and they ended up in Earth. So this is a question I think we all can discuss later, like how did Heimdall, the ever watching Heimdall, actually miss out the fact that this group of Asgardians went to Earth. And when we see them partying in Earth, we don't only see the Asgardians, but we see a whole lot of people. I think at least half of the galaxy was partying in Las Vegas. So we see Sif with Lady Sif with the Ravagers, and there's a pineapple shirt guy. I don't know why it was there.
That pineapple shirt guy could be Taika Waititi.
Live action Taika Waititi.
Yeah, live action Taika Waititi. That's the rumor lah. Don't know if it's true.
Oh, okay.
Could be just.
Because he always dresses like that, like the happy-go-lucky hippie kind of thing, right?
The Hawaiian theme.
So you could safely say it's him also. I never know lah. Actually.
Yeah.
Probably they put a reference of him in there lah.
Yeah.
And we also get.
Wait, hold on. Before that, I just want to say this, just for the record. This Thor looks so gay. I cannot tahan. Because I mean, like, okay, even in the first Thor, in the actual real life, the actual movie Thor, right? At least he had a beard. He looks more manlier. But this one, he looks like you can't take him seriously, lah. You know.
I think that's the whole point of different universes, how it plays out, lah. So if you give with the beard, then it will be same Thor and everything. I think the purpose they took out the beard so that is different from the other universes. His character also is almost on par, like how is he on Ragnarok? He asks stupid questions, dumb, kind of like a dumb person a bit, like of what questions and everything. But then it's even more worse here actually. Parents never took care of him. Like he's so rebellious and everything. So it's a bit different, lah.
There was actually a theory about this because you see in the original Thor that we know, he was always being responsible, going into war and like fighting with the Avengers. So they say he's very war roughed up that he didn't have time to shave. But this Thor is living the good life. He's a very princely good life. So that he has time to shave and be clean and be elegant. Unlike the roughed up Thor that we always see. So yeah, that's the theory. And moving on. So like I mentioned, we see like all these ships. We see Asgardian ships. We see ships from Sakaar with all of these people coming in. We see Scourge. We see the Skrulls, and then Jane and Darcy immediately arrive in Las Vegas, and we see Howard the Duck. So I guess Howard the Duck, he wasn't captured by Tivan the Collector. And, she immediately goes to confront Thor. And while she's confronting, we see Thor hanging out with his bunch of Skrulls. Everyone are best friends. And they are like imitating his face and all. We also see Topaz and the Grandmaster. They're having cake at the side there. And, Jane confronts Thor and she asks about, the Alpha Star Icarus, saying that was he the one who destroyed it, but he was very busy, and then busy partying and all, and then after that he admits that they actually partied on the star for 3 days, and he even mentioned that Fandral was curling next to a goat. He slept next to a goat, and they named the goat Gary. So I guess this is sort of like a reference because Chris Hemsworth, who played Thor, he's an Australian, right? So Gary the goat and is actually a famous comedy icon along with his owner Jimbo Bazubi. So they are a famous comedian icon. Probably that's where they got the reference from. And then Jane mentions your Thor as in the Norse god, and he cannot hear because the loud music, and he says I'm not the horse god, but I can bring the thunder. So the horse god, I would say the reference is to Beta Ray Bill. In the comics, Beta Ray Bill is a version of Thor, but he's more of a horse-looking creature. Then he uses his charm to flirt with Jane. He says, "You're genius, and you have such deep dark eyes with galaxy giving birth and everything." So she falls for him, and then she also let loose, and they started partying. And Howard and Darcy, they go somewhere for a drink. So wink, wink, something is going to happen with Howard the Duck and Darcy. So we see Nebula, gambling with Cork, saying that she needs a brand new eye. So this version of Nebula is totally different from the one that we see from the T'Challa joining the Avengers episode. So in this, I would say Thanos was still evil. He did this kind of damage towards Nebula. And then we see Volstagg on the water jetpack, jumping and plunging into the fountain, Valkyrie and Drax having drinks, and then things started speeding up, and then we see Darcy and Howard the Duck getting married in the Love Chapel in Las Vegas. I think everyone is just drunk over there. And Thor and Jane, they get tattoos. Jane gets magic, and Thor gets science, because basically in the first Thor movie, Thor actually mentions magic is simply science that you don't understand. So that kind of.
No,
And
but
also
it's very weird though, because knowing Thor, nothing can pierce his skin. Like
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure a
I-
blade
I-
can't
yeah.
pierce his skin. So how can a needle basically tattoo on his skin like that?
Yeah,
Kind of weird lah.
I thought about the same thing also. Like, wait for a moment. He's a god. How does it? Then I thought maybe it's just because Superman is a totally different story, So But I think it can. His skin is in a way that it's possible, but beating him down, human beating, that's not possible. I think so, lah. His skin, I don't think it's penetrable. I think. I think it's penetrable. Sorry, I think it's penetrable.
Yeah.
If penetrable, then blades can also pierce him, you know.
No, I
So I don't think it's the case.
Because like when you see in most of the movies, Thor bleeds. You know, he gets injured and he bleeds when he fights. It's just that I guess he's tough, lah. Like if you see Superman, it's a whole different thing. Superman doesn't bleed. Nothing can penetrate his skin. You know, so that's like even Loki can stab Thor in the first Avengers. So yeah, his skin is penetrable, lah.
No, I think his skin is penetrable, but I think there's certain type of like things that can penetrate his skin, right? So there is. So it's not to say it's 100%. Maybe human made something maybe like vibranium maybe can penetrate the skin, right? But like maybe normal steel and stuff like that may not. But I think there is. I mean, every superhero has a weakness, so Thor is not like eternal, like forever, or he's immortal, but he's not like how to say so godlike that he cannot die, lah. He can, lah.
Yeah.
And also the tattoo for Jane Foster, it's not that she'll be carrying the hammer in the upcoming. Actually, I'm quite happy though, because we didn't get to see Jane Foster back in Ragnarok, but we're supposed to see her in Love and Thunder, but we get her voice. Natalie Portman came back to voice for Jane Foster, and Kat Dennings came back to voice for Darcy. So it's cool.
I think it's Kat Dennings, right? Or Dennis?
Dennings.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so right after the party, everyone is hung over, I think in Jane's hotel room, if I'm not mistaken, and the phone starts ringing, and this is another reference, the way Jane says phone. This is a reference to E.T. because E.T. will always be like phone. And and they actually referenced that earlier, because when she meets Thor, Darcy says, "What, you're expecting to see E.T., is it?" So we know she's looking for extraterrestrials, so she probably is a fan of this kind of movies. And we hear a knock at the door, and we see Ramlo, of course, was soon to be Crossbones in Avengers Age of Ultron, and
Civil War, yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Civil War, not Age of Ultron, yeah, Civil War. Yeah, my mistake. And we see Rocket, sleeping in the sink over there, so he partied hard as well. And Maria Hill approaches Jane, and she says that you were the one who reported. So of course, again, like government, first they ignore you. When shit hits the fan, then they come looking for you. Okay, I wouldn't say government, but I see higher authorities. Please don't come.
You can't take it back.
Yeah.
They're gonna knock on your door tomorrow.
Yeah. Just
Boom, FBI.
keep your windows closed, yes.
So yeah, she says that she's the acting director. I was like, what happened to Nick Fury? And then turns out the night before, Cog actually knocked Fury out because he wanted a cannonball into the fountain. And then we can hear Thor saying in the background, "Oh, there's a cute little rabbit in the sink." So he's referencing to Rocket because he calls Rocket, a rabbit.
Yeah.
And then we immediately see them in the helicarrier, and Phil Coulson says the party atmosphere is spreading, so people are partying so hard that it's dangerous to Earth.
Yeah, it's quite funny though, like war destroys, invasion destroys, but now it's more like party destroys the whole world.
It's like coronavirus, but it's Thor party virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sean was
exactly.
trying to say something.
It's like as though like.
Oh.
Okay, we lost Sean.
We lost the man.
No, I'm here.
Okay,
we got
say
something.
again.
Okay. Yeah. No, so what I wanted to say was the way they put out like that party was like, oh, there's nuclear strikes, what happened everywhere, the way that the red lights beep all over the map, like. So I don't know why the party is so contagious, but it's contagious.
Because the crown prince of Asgard, I mean, of course, he literally called half of the galaxy. So
I think as they party, more people came, and then we also see like they some of them went to France, some of them went to Paris, You know, I see a Ferris wheel also getting turned over and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think like the more they partied, the longer they were there, the more people come and the more place they need to take and things they need to do.
They didn't just party, they created havoc the whole place.
It's because of that. So Maria Hill informs Jane that they are in Paris now, and she'll say immediately they say they're going for the last resort. I feel like they didn't even try, but I guess because they have to squeeze it in the episode, they immediately called for Captain Marvel through the pager. And we come to Paris. We see the Sovereign, Aisha, the High Priestess from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, taking selfies. So I mean, it gave a really nice vibe. No one is enemies. Everyone are friends. Yeah, taking selfie. And we also see Loki coming as a frost giant. So, and this Loki doesn't have any hatred. They are just here to party.
You know what's funny? The moment when he says to Thor that, Thor, you son of a witch, I'm like, oh god, what a ripoff. But still, Frigga's a witch though, so it makes sense in a way.
Yeah, it makes sense. Actually, there was another, this one, I'll come to that. Even that also, I feel like they played something with that. So, Loki come and then they say, oh, we are brother from another mother and everything. And then Captain Marvel comes, she comes and puts a halt and with the smoke and everything. And before that, they were saying something about boom. Thor and Loki were asking who boomed. And then he said, no, I boom in private. So I don't know what was the boom. But then Captain Marvel addresses Thor as hey, White Snake. So White Snake is a reference to one old rock band from London where everyone literally had these long hairs like how Thor has right now. So she asked Thor to leave the planet and Thor doesn't want to leave. And she punches him. I feel like she could have negotiated more, but she just immediately punched him. And then Thor says, there's a Midgardian word for women like you. And she was like prepared and angry. I was like, is he going to say that?
Yeah, I mean they've said several times in MC movies though, a few times.
Yeah.
Like even Endgame when Steve Rogers also says like, let's go get the son of a,
Yeah.
So they've said it, but I don't think they would have said it inside here, I know what they were heading for. We all know what they were heading for, but they changed it after that.
It's PG lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So immediately he says, "Party pooper, you're a party pooper," and then they argue and then they go into a huge fight. So and this one felt like more like a Looney Tunes kind of thing. Thor punches her and then she flies, and then we see the landmass and then with the word United Kingdom written on it. So it's like the Looney Tunes lah with the words on the map. She lands and then she lands on Stonehenge. So Stonehenge, I think the last we saw Stonehenge was in Thor: The Dark World when Eric Selvig was running naked. Around there. So and they fight over there, and then she punches Thor, and he flies all the way to US, to America, and they land. I think it's somewhere around Grand Canyon area, the desert area, and over there they had a really awesome fight scene, with the Captain Marvel's powers and everything. I feel like they did the animation really good over there.
Talking about this fight scene, just actually, while watching the fight scene, because I was thinking, who is the strongest Avengers now? You know what I mean? Because on the level of Thor and Captain Marvel, they are the same. You see that because she becomes a hero where she absorbs power and she uses the power, and Thor is practically God of Thunder, but both are on par because as referenced earlier, remember back in the helicarrier when Maria Hill says you have to do something, and then she says I would use my powers, but she's afraid that she might rip Earth into half.
No, she says she'll create a crater.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, Arvin. We're going to
we're not there yet. It's after that.
But okay, since talking about the fight scene, but in a sense that it's very cool because we still two strongest Avengers, we have. So it's very cool to see they both fight because they supposedly had a talks that they're supposed to have a fight back in Endgame, but it didn't happen. They literally cut out from the editing floor. So it happened now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, nice to see two superpowered beings, and to prove Captain Marvel's strength, when Thor hits her with lightning, she actually, absorbs everything without even a flinch. And then they fight again, and then they somehow flew past, I think it's Hawaii, with a tropical scenery and everything. And then they fight in the clouds. So in the clouds, it made it look like a very godly, immortal fight, in the dark clouds, and they're fighting and blah, blah, blah. And eventually they ended up back in Paris, back at the same place where they're partying. I mean, what are the odds, right? They land back in the same area. So he puts Mjolnir on top of Captain Marvel, same like how he did with Loki. He just throws it on her. And then he says, "You're a party pooper." Then everyone makes fun of her, party pooper. And she's like, I think she was going to cry anytime. So this is when she goes back to the helicarrier. And then, Maria Hill didn't really help. She was like, "Oh, Fury said, your punch is equal to 10 nuclear bombs and your cat can devour people." So the cat, she's referring to the Flurkin. And then Darcy asks, "Oh, what's your cat's name?" And she says, "Goose." So immediately she makes the Top Gun reference because, in Top Gun, Nick Bradshaw was nicknamed Goose and Pete Mitchell was Maverick. So yeah, speaking of Top Gun, doing one informal promo, don't forget to miss out Top Gun Maverick that is coming out in theaters soon.
Nice one, yeah.
Jess is supposed to be, don't forget not to miss out.
Oh, don't forget not to miss out because it's not out yet.
No, because you said don't forget to miss out.
Oh, don't forget
God,
not to miss out.
I think your sponsors are not going to pay you anymore, Jess.
I'm doing a bad job in sponsoring.
Do you even have sponsors?
Huh?
Do you even have sponsors?
I don't know. Maybe after this we might have sponsors. I don't know.
Oh no, after your BSEP, no.
Yeah.
Please, sorry, forgive me. So yeah, this is when Captain Marvel says, she can actually create a crater if she uses her full power. So we know that we haven't seen Captain Marvel's fullest power over there.
No, even talking about Captain Marvel's powers, I think even in Captain Marvel and even in Avengers Endgame, I don't think we have seen the full extent of her power because she gets her powers from from an Infinity Stone. So I believe that her power are much more greater than any, because in the Marvel comics itself, she is known as one of the greatest heroes and the most powerful hero in the Marvel universe itself. So like what I see in like the fight in Endgame with Captain Marvel and Thanos, right? I don't think Marvel actually did or Marvel Studios did justice in that fight because they made her like how I think I understand they want to show the power of Thanos, but I think Captain Marvel is much more powerful than Thanos can ever be. So that's why I feel that it was not justice done for Captain Marvel. But I hope moving in the future with the series and the movies that will come out of Captain Marvel, that they will show the full extent of her power.
I think they just didn't want her to overshadow the other Avengers. That's
yeah,
why
exactly. Because if you see in the Endgame also, when she was fighting with Thanos, you see she could easily take on the Thanos, but Thanos used the Infinity Stone to defeat her. Used the Power Stone, I think, to distract her away. So her powers, if she goes, it's something in the comics they say go binary. It's something more like a full form star, like the star, like a power
binary star.
Binary star. So it will go to that extent. So that's what they say. So hopefully we get to see her powers more.
To be honest, I don't know what is a binary star. I just made a Star Wars reference to the binary sun.
But that's what I call it. You're right. It's the binary star. So it's something equivalent to a star, something like that. Yeah.
So while they're talking about this, they're still in the helicarrier. Then Thor calls Jane, and she's in all cloud nine, like, "Oh, where are you?" and everything. And then she asks, like, "Are you sure you didn't destroy the Alpha Star Icarus?" Then Thor says, "No, they partied, but at the same time they helped the people to escape, and it was more like a meteor." So this one, I immediately thought about Rick and Morty. The one episode where they go to every dying planet and party, but then they just ditch the people over there and just chow. But at least this one, they actually help the people over there. And then, I think unconsciously she said, "Okay, gotta go, love you." So,
I was
it's
just watching that. Oh, okay.
like she crushing on him so bad.
Yeah.
And then, Captain Marvel and Maria Hill came up with a plan. They say, because Darcy says, why not you do it in South Dakota, South or North Dakota, because very desert area. Then Maria Hill says, yeah, we can do it in the Mojave Desert in Siberia, where they can fight without obstructing anything. So Jane, of course, argues about this. So they say, okay, your services are no longer required. They just drop her back to Las Vegas. And then Howard comes, like a husband who just lost a wife. Well, if it isn't Mrs. Duck.
There's some nice comedy elements, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, then Jane calls Thor, and Thor is busy having dinner at a Chinese restaurant after drinking. Loki answers the phone, and then Loki asks, "Oh, do you have a friend or a sister that we can double date?" Very horny fella. And then he actually drops the phone, and that thing actually showed how huge he was. The phone was like,
Yeah.
and then Darcy gives the idea to Jane. Say, why not call the mom? So, and then we see that the party, it was getting wilder. So we understand why they're trying to get them off the planet, because they are vandalizing everything. So we see the frost giant, like Harvin mentioned, like Eric and Harvin mentioned, play with the Ferris wheel. And then we see Surta.
Yeah, that was very unexpected though. You see Ragnarok, he's so buff and everything, and he's the one who practically destroyed the whole of Asgard, and now he's like flirting with the Statue of Liberty. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's so lonely that he's flirting with the Statue of Liberty. Then he broke her arm and it's like, oh, will you look at the time? Then I think this is a very comedic episode, the way they did it. Seriously, like teenagers partying. And then, we see the frost giant vandalizing Mount Rushmore, putting mustache and horns on the statues. And then Surta decides to play limbo. How low can you go? And then he gets caught on the cabling and he takes out the power for a whole city.
Yeah.
So, everyone is partying. And then we see them at Sydney Harbour Bridge. Of course, is Thor's country of Chris Hemsworth's country of origin. So probably best way to end it there. So Sydney Harbour Bridge, and then in Australia, and then Thor says, "You want to see me slide off that thing, that pointy thing, which is the Opera House in Sydney." And then he, when he's saying that, we see more people. We actually see the sex bot from Contraxia in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So even the sex bots came to party. And along with Cork with the pacifier in the mouth, with the Asgardian soldiers. And then there'll be one scene where we see Meek next to Cork. So he's happy to see, like Meek with his armor and everything. And then while Thor is going to the Opera House, Captain Marvel intercepts in between. And then she brings him halfway across the earth and throws him in Siberia. In the meantime, Jane calls out for Heimdall. She amplifies the sound. Again, like I'm saying, I know they are in a backwater planet, but then, there's a reason why Earth is called Midgard, because it's in the middle of everything. And Heimdall still couldn't see the mishap that's going on. I mean, Heimdall, are you...
No, I think this just proves that Heimdall actually can't see everything at once. I mean, he can see everything, but not at once, maybe.
No, even though probably he could see. Maybe he could see, but he didn't want to interfere, just like the Watcher.
He was slightly late on Thanos also. Right? I mean, only when he was about to die, that's when he knew about Thanos.
Yeah.
So if he knew a long time ahead, he could have seen everything. He would have known about.
No, but
all that already.
But the circumstances are different. Thanos is coming to ruin, but Thor went to party, so probably he realized like, okay lah, what a bunch of teenagers, what a party, let them lah.
Probably Heimdall, he was just there like.
Yeah.
No, but I also think because Thor is considered like king, right, in this current moment, in this particular universe. So I think maybe he would have done something from his kingship to say, hey, I'm done, mind your own business. or something like that lah. It could have been, I don't know.
He's not a king because
He's a
Odin is
prince
still
yet,
alive.
yeah.
He's a prince.
He's a proxy king lah.
Yeah, proxy king lah. I mean, he's not king 100% because Odin didn't die yet. But what I'm saying is he took the sort of like extending for Odin lah. So I think maybe in that sense he might have said something to Heimdall or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I feel like it doesn't make sense because at the start they'll say, oh, if Heimdall finds out, he'll tell Frigga and everything, and then now they just I guess it's like something they missed out in the script lah. Heimdall can't control everything.
No, but I don't think. I think that's the point. I think the point is that the how would I put it? Heimdall is got nothing to do. The storyline of Heimdall looking over, there was nothing to do. So they just decided like he see or don't see, just forget about it. Just pretend like he saw, then he didn't want to take any action. That's all, I guess.
Yeah, probably just leave it as that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a 30 minutes episode, so
yeah,
it's not gonna affect anything much. So yeah, Jane calls her the Heimdall, and then this is a sad thing. I guess they couldn't get Idris Elba to voice Heimdall, so he didn't really speak in this episode. He was just grunting like.
Well, that is typical Heimdall though.
Idris Elba found out about the script and he didn't want to do the grunting. He'd be like, you want me to come all the way to...
So they just put someone in.
Like I'm Groot lah.
Yeah.
Just say I'm Groot ni. I'm Groot.
Yeah,
no, but at least those are words.
I'm Groot.
Not like Heimdall.
I think Sean needs to watch out his windows lah. Marvel can come in anytime.
No.
Both of you, Jess and Sean, please lock your doors.
I'll lock my doors lah. Deadpool. So Heimdall immediately brings Jane to Asgard, and then she says that Thor is partying and everything, and he sends Jane to where Frigga was. And then Jane goes and she don't know how to address Frigga. She's like, hi Mrs. Odin wife. So they asked what happened and everything, and in the meantime the helicarrier is in Siberia watching the confrontation going on with Captain Marvel and Thor. So they are planning to fire a nuclear missile on Thor, but then at the same time Jane tells on Thor to Frigga, so she uses dark magic to project herself in front of Thor to confront Thor. So she at that moment she didn't see Captain Marvel at the back. She only saw Thor, so she's like, what are you doing? And then he says, oh, I'm in Midgard for a cultural exchange study. So like all mothers, she said, oh, okay, you're doing that, I want to come and see what you're doing. So and she goes off, and then he immediately asks Captain Marvel for help. And it's kind of nice to see that he didn't have any hate towards Captain Marvel. He just said, I just want to party, let me party. And then now he asks for help, and then she says, clean up your mess, your own mess. So he goes to clean up his mess. He goes back to the harbor bridge, and then we see Loki over there saying that they took the gateway arch from St. Louis and wanting to do the world's biggest slingshot. Yeah. So at the same moment, Frigga goes to Asgard. I guess it's like a transit lah. She goes to Asgard and then she shoots off to Midgard. I wanted to say Midgard. So Thor, begs everyone, please come help me clean up the mess, and everyone just ditches him from cleaning. And then we see Drax vomiting next to Thor, and then he says, "Oh, you are the party pooper. You are pooping the party." The typical way Drax talks lah. And then we see a clearer face of Yondu, and then we see Grandmaster and Topaz, on a scooter going away. Yeah. And then he asked Nebula for help. She's like, "Oh, I think my dad is calling." So yeah, good way to use your father to run away since your father is the Mad Titan, huh? And to get everyone's attention, Thor uses the power of Odin. He asks for the power, and he uses the big voice. I thought he was going to do something different, like reverse time or something. He just uses the big voice, and then he says that Frigga is coming, and then everyone freaks out. And during then we can see Mantis also over there. So yeah, it's so nice they didn't miss her out. And then everyone immediately starts cleaning up after their mess. We can see they are just putting back the arch. cleaning up the ice and everything. And then the tower of Pisa, which was already slanting Thor, thinking it was his mistake. And it's so funny because when Frigga was on the way to Earth, she knew. I guess it's aimed to where Thor was, because at that time he was in Italy and she was aiming for Italy. When we see the map, the cartoon map with the words, it was Italy. So
She took so long to fly in though.
Yeah.
I was
my
that
okay.
question.
Why it's so far?
Like so she's coming, and also at the same time they're cleaning so far. So I questioned myself. So does the what do you call the teleportation thing? Bifrost. So the Bifrost is it's not fast actually, or is it slow? So for us it's actually fast, but then it's actually in the real time it's actually take a while for them to actually reach Earth lah. Most probably, I don't know.
I
understand that.
don't know.
No, I just think it's a ploy just to to sync up the scenes lah.
That dramatic effect, right? The kids are cleaning up and the parents are driving up with the car and parking and everything, that kind of thing. So the moment she lands, and then it was so funny. We see Thor with the study group. We not only with the Asgardians, we see the Skrull, and then we see Topaz also sitting over there, and then saying, when Frigga comes, say hi, hi Mother Frigga or something. So they address her like how school children addresses people, teachers. So and then Frigga is of course surprised, and then Thor says, "Oh mother, did you know that Midgard is the birthplace of the Snuggie?" So the Snuggie, is like this. I don't know whether it's a very popular thing or what, but that blanket sweater thing, I guess people use it. I don't know. So Frigga is still a little suspicious, but then Captain Marvel swoops in to protect him, to cover for him. She says, "Oh, here's the tablet with the information that you asked for." With on cultural stuff and everything. So Captain Marvel introduces herself. I'm Captain Marvel, and then Frigga says, "I know who you are." So people know who Captain Marvel is. And then Frigga almost bought it. That Thor is studying, but then when he calls Mjolnir, we see the vandalized Mjolnir. So Frigga like Thor, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and everything. And then this is the ending part where it gets interesting. I mean, at first, I think all of us was like, seriously, you're ending with this like a happy story. Thor meets Jane in her van in New Mexico, and then he calls her out on a date, and then he leaves. And then the Watcher says, like a romantic story, everything is happily ever after and all. And then even the Watcher's like, wait, what? And then we see this army of Ultron bots coming out, and we see the main Ultron, which is comic accurate compared to the movies, with those 4 eyes, and then with all the Infinity Stones, and then when the helmet opens, we see Vision in there with red eyes. So I think this is what we've been hinting on for so long, when we kept talking about this Vision Ultron with Infinity Stones, and it's finally happening. So I think these next 2 episodes is probably going to be about that. Hopefully it's going to be about that.
It's I think this is also the part where we see the Watcher more clearly. Like we can see the resemblance in Jeffrey Wright. I think we can see like how they try to use Jeffrey Wright's own face into the Watcher, and we can see him so clearly. And I think this is the first time we see him shocked. We actually see feelings from him. I'm still very skeptical because we only have 2 episodes left. And we have a lot of villains and a lot of stories to finish. So I don't know which take they're gonna go with the remaining 2. But I have a feeling it has something to do with the Watcher finally stepping in and gathering all the heroes from whatever episodes he wants to gather and to finally fight Ultron. Ultron kind of looks more badass than Thanos, to be honest. And the way he opens up the mask is just like how Tony, who is the creator of Ultron and Jarvis, by the way, the way he also opens his Iron Man mask. So I think there's a storyline there. I think maybe they might touch a bit on his background. I don't know. I think we deserve to know how this kind of Ultron comes to place. If they don't tell us, it kind of suck lah. It will ruin a lot of element of surprise in story, and then Ultron will just be like normal villain. But if they give him a backstory, yeah, I hope that's what we see in the remaining episodes.
Yeah, I think this episode is mostly, I think it was just a filler episode just to show us the ending of the thing, because out of nowhere you can't just show Ultron. You need to have something, and then at the end you give boom Ultron with Vision. So this was more like a filler episode. It was a fun filler episode, and yeah, like Eric said, just 2 episodes left, and we do know that Ultron and Vision, both combined, they are the big bad for this season. But of course, there are a lot of story plots hanging for other stories, for Captain Carter, Star-Lord, T'Challa, and everything. So I think like the watcher is much more surprised because he obviously doesn't know what he only watches. He doesn't know what's going to happen next. So he only watches. So I think this is when he will step in, because I think no one. I think a robot with the IQ level super high and a body of vision, with the Infinity Gauntlet, I don't know what can happen after that. I can't imagine what can he actually do. So I think that is when Watcher steps in, bring everyone, the Guardians of the Multiverse, and then the story plays out. And so, like I said, we also deserve the background story of Ultron gaining the Infinity Stone, because it's very much important. And we see how this goes, but I'm super hyped for the next 2 episodes. I really hope there's no beating around the bush, and I hope they just get down straight to the plot line.
Yeah, so I on my end, before Jess finishes and gives his closing remarks, for me, I feel that this reminds me a lot of Infinity War and Endgame, where each of its own has its story, has its ending, but it's like a continuation, right? So for me, I feel it's like that. Like they will finish off the next 2 episodes. Definitely on the last episode, there will be something that they will bring forward towards the second season. So for me, I feel it's as such that they're going to continue this down the road, like however they're going to continue. I'm not sure how. Maybe they might end the whole thing with like what Harvin says, like the Guardians of the Multiverse. Maybe you can see all of them like lining up or teaming up, and then it ends, and then we go into season 2, something like that, right? So this is the kind of vibe that I'm getting from Marvel, because with animation, you can actually create more storylines, and you can sort of like extend the story much more, because it's costs much lesser than a live action movie lah. So it gives me that sort of like a vibe lah.
Yeah,
I just hope we have a good ending. That's all.
Yeah.
Definitely there's no ending because the season 2, so there's no ending. It gets worse.
I mean, for me, I think we will have a really good ending, because Marvel, so far, they don't disappoint. They really know what fans want. They can play around with us. They're very good at playing around with us, but then in the end, they give what we want. For example, like even this episode, the moment when we were all watching, we're like, we expected better, because the other episodes were nicer, with more story plots and everything. And this one is just some kind of comedy, cartoonish episode. But then when they reveal the big bad at the end, we knew that, okay, Marvel was concentrating, building up so much. They give one episode just like to lighten up the mood, and then they tease the big bad in the end. And, that is how it's going to go in the next 2 episodes. So yeah, basically that's it for the breakdown of What If Episode 7, What If Thor Were an Only Child. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our breakdown. Again, apologies if we ran through really fast, because there was a lot to cover up because of the amount of cameos over there. And we hope that for these next 2 episodes that are coming, you will stay hooked on with us and you still watch our content. Don't forget to leave your comment and also to subscribe and like our channel. So this is the Geek Street. The street has spoken. Till then, see you guys and bye-bye.
Ciao guys.
Bye-bye.